The sound of an engine rumbled through the dry Texas air. The family had been arguing over dinner, but the second they heard the truck pull up, all conversation stopped. The silence carried a weight to it, something thick, tense. Then, almost all at once, they rushed to the front door, the screen banging open as they stepped onto the porch. I followed at a slower pace, watching from the doorway. Leatherface had finally come home. He climbed out of the truck, his massive form hunched, his movements slow but deliberate. He smelled of sweat, dust, and something that clung to his clothes, something metallic. I could tell from the way the others looked at him that he had been gone for too long. Drayton was the first to speak. 2 days, boy. 2 goddamn days, and you don't even tell nobody where you're going. He threw his hands up. You think we ain't got rules in this house? Think you can just come and go as you please? Hitch clicked his tongue, shaking his head. Damn near thought you got yourself caught, big guy. Leatherface didn't respond. He never did. He just stood there, taking the scolding in silence. But then Bobby pushed past them all, beaming. Daddy! She ran straight into him, wrapping her small arms around his massive waist. Leatherface hesitated for a second, then rested a large, calloused hand on her head. The tension in the air broke, if only for a moment. Then Bobby turned, eyes flicking toward me. Oh. Daddy, you gotta meet one. She grabbed Leatherface's hand and pulled him forward. He's my new big brother now. Leatherface finally looked at me. I met his gaze, my expression blank. The mask he wore was stitched together, the features too human and not human enough all at once. But it wasn't his mask that held my attention, it was his eyes. They studied me in a way none of the others had. Drayton was trying to figure out what to do with me. Hitch wanted me gone. Bobby wanted a new plaything. But Leatherface? He was measuring something deeper. I waited for him to do something. Growl. Lash out. Challenge me. Instead, he motioned for me to follow. The room was cluttered. Old tools, scattered leather, jars of substances I didn't care to identify. But what stood out the most were the masks. Dozens of them, hanging from hooks, stretched over mannequin heads. Some were human, stitched together from stolen flesh. Others were works in progress, half-shaped, half-forgotten. I expected Leatherface to hand me something. Maybe put a tool in my hand and test what I could do. But he didn't. He simply sat at his workbench, letting me do what I wanted. I scanned the room, my gaze landing on something near the corner. A skull. It was old, but not so old that it had lost its integrity. I could still see faint traces of dried tissue, remnants of what it once was. A human skull, untouched. I walked toward it, reaching out and running my fingers along the bone. It wasn't soft like flesh. It wasn't fragile like dried-out remains. It was strong. Sturdy. A foundation. Leatherface and Bobby watched as I picked up tools I had never touched before. My hands knew what to do without hesitation. I began working, carving, and refining. I shaped the skull not into something human, but into something monstrous. The jaw had to be reinforced and secured with thick leather straps. The edges were smoothed but left jagged where it mattered. Holes widened for better vision. I carved symbols along the edges, lines that meant nothing to anyone else but made sense to me. Time disappeared. The room faded away. When I finally lifted my creation, the skull mask was something out of a nightmare, closer to an animal, a beast, but with the unmistakable shape of something once human. It looked like something from the old stories, the legends I used to read. It looked like me. Bobby let out a low whistle. Damn. Leatherface shot her a quick look that made her slowly look down and cross her hands behind her. He then turned back to me and tilted his head, his fingers twitching like he wanted to reach for it. I turned to him. For the first time since we met, I saw something in his eyes. Not judgment. Not questions. Understanding. We were different, he and I. He was a man who turned into a monster. I was a monster trying to hold on to something human. But here, in this room, there were no questions. No need for words. Leatherface nodded once. And that was enough.